Do the holidays stress you out? Do you dread and fear the inevitable weight gain that comes through the holidays? If you've gone into every holiday expecting to feel awful by the end of it, then my friend, you are in the right place and this is the right video for you. Because in this video, I'm going to be teaching you our 5-step holiday freedom framework that will help you reduce your stress even through the holidays, prioritize your well-being, and make it so you do not gain a single pound this holiday season. You actually walk away feeling balanced, healthy, and fulfilled, ready for a new year. If that sounds wonderful for you, then keep watching and let's dig in. My name is Lindsay Pickowitz. I'm one of the head coaches and co-founders here at The Fitness Project, where we build fit, healthy leaders. And at The Fitness Project, we take the busiest and typically the most burnt out professionals, whether they're entrepreneurs, executives, or anything in between, and we help them learn how to integrate fitness and health into their life so that it becomes a new normal, a part of who they are again, and not just something that operates in a silo when they're trying to lose weight. So here, as I teach you the holiday freedom framework, remember, this is meant to be something that makes fitness and health easy for you. It's something that should feel like it's being seamlessly integrated into your current life. It's not an overhaul. It's not a quick fix. Again, these are 5 steps to really get to the point where the holiday season is something that only adds joy to your life. There's not a bit of stress or that voice in the back of your head that says, don't eat that, or you're gaining weight, or you're falling off track. Step number 1. If you're going into the holiday season, you need to do something that most people won't do. Set goals. You're never going to hit a target you don't aim at. If you want to feel good this holiday season and like you have momentum going into a new year, then the first thing you want to do is reset expectations, reset your goals as you close out the year. Most people won't do this because they assume that it's all downhill from here. So if you can look at the next month or 2 months and say, what would really close out this year strong? What would really be a win? Then you're already ahead of the crew. So set some goals. What do you want to accomplish by the end of the year? How do you want to feel on New Year's Eve? How do you want to feel emotionally? How do you want to feel in your body? What do you want to have accomplished by the end of the year? Once you answer those questions, you now have accomplished step number 1 of the Holiday Freedom Framework, which is to set new goals, set new expectations, and perhaps even just recommit to the goals that you already have. Step number 2 in the Holiday Freedom Framework is to address the stress of the holidays. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, here's the thing. Stress is the experience when you perceive that your demands exceed your capacity. So if you feel like there's demands being placed on you that you do not have the time, the energy, or the resources to be able to tackle, you will feel stressed out. Now, the reason that we tend to feel very stressed throughout the holidays is kind of because we turn a blind eye. We don't really think about it in advance. We don't do any what's called if-then planning. Now, throughout the holidays, your demands are going to be higher, most likely. Maybe you're closing out the year in your business. Maybe you have a lot of family coming into town. Maybe you're traveling. Either way, there tends to be higher demands throughout the holidays, and at least, if not higher demands, just unique demands. So you want to plan ahead for those things by simply asking yourself a few questions. What usually stresses you out in this season? And how do you typically react? The truth is, we can't eliminate stress, but we can certainly change how we respond to it. So if you know the stressors that are coming and you can identify how you typically react to those things, perhaps it's, well, when family comes into town, my workouts go out the window, for example. Well, then you can ask, what changes or boundaries might you have to set for things to be different? Well, I might have to really inform my guests that I'll be out for 30 minutes in the morning. If they need anything, they can make themselves a cup of coffee, just to give a simple example. Or you might have to say, I set a boundary for myself where twice a week, even through the holidays, I get a home workout in 30 minutes, right? But again, if you don't think about it in advance, then you're hoping that the version of you in those moments is going to make a new decision. And that's just not setting yourself up for success. And then lastly, perhaps you can reflect and ask, what do I need to remember when that stress starts to come up? Do I need to remember that my only job right now is to be loving or to be present? Do I need to remember that my health matters too? What do you need to remember when stress occurs? Just by writing the answers to these few questions down, you have already done step number 2, which is to address the stress. Remember, people tend to turn a blind eye to stressors. They hope that in the moment they're going to feel motivated, they're going to feel more inspired to be consistent. But the reality is, even if you have goals, you need to address the stress that's coming, and you're going to be in a much better place to tackle it. So address the stress. Take 2 minutes to write down your answers to those questions, and you'll be in a much better place. Step number 3, now that you have addressed the stress, you know what's coming, you've anticipated it, and you've set a new goal, now we can build your game plan to get towards your goal. Most of the time, plans fail. If you've ever experienced this, you know what I'm talking about. A plan tends to be, okay, this month I'm going to work out 3 times a week, and I'm going to go for a walk every day, and I'm going to make sure that I eat a healthy breakfast and lunch, and I'm going to try to make sure I'm just eating mostly meats and veggies. We tend to say things like that to ourselves, and that's our, quote, plan, right? Why don't those usually work? The challenge with most plans that we build for ourselves is that they're inherently static. They are plans that we have as ideals if everything goes well. The challenge, especially throughout the holidays, is life throws us quite a few curveballs. There tend to be more people involved than normal, and there's just different factors that we can't account for. So if you have a rigid plan where you're either going to do this or you're failing, then it tends to be really hard to follow through, especially if stress comes up. So what do you do instead? Well, you want to have a baseline level of success, which I'm going to share with you in a moment, like your baseline plan. But then you really want to keep in mind that in order for you to be successful in this season, you're going to have to be flexible. You're going to have to meet yourself where you're at every single day. And every single week might look different. Some weeks you might hit 3 workouts. Other weeks you might only hit 1. But are there certain things that you can keep in place that are really simple commitments? And then on your weeks where you maybe have a little bit more wiggle room, you can do more. So think of it like this. Your game plan should include 5 principles for success. But again, it should meet you where you're at. And every week, you'll probably have to reset your expectations and reset your calendar. So keep that mindset of flexibility. But every week, you should include things like, number 1, move your body every day. Your food is going to change throughout this season. So if you're going to have a game plan, you need to already expect that the one thing that's going to be in your control every single day is how you move. Your food might not always be in your control, especially if you're going out to more parties or events. Be ready for that. And plan to move your body as an anchor every day. By anchor, I mean that it's the one thing you can fall back on, you can count on, that reminds you that you're being consistent and you're taking care of your health. So move your body every day, ideally for 10 minutes. Doesn't have to be a full workout, but you can even just say every single day I'm at least going to go for a walk, or every single day I'm at least going to stretch. I'm going to do something intentional every single day throughout the holidays. That is very doable. You don't need to be in a gym. You don't need to have a workout outfit. You don't need anything fancy to move your body every day for 10 minutes. But it's an amazing baseline to have that we tend to undervalue. So that should be the first part or the principle of this game plan of yours. The second principle is ideally you want to be strength training 2 to 3 times a week for 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. Now, if you're doing 0 right now, then that might feel like a stretch. Stick with moving your body every day. And if you can, get a workout in, whatever that workout looks like for you, then that's awesome. But the second principle of success is to have some type of strength training or resistance training in your calendar 2 to 3 times a week, especially if you want to ideally feel strong, feel fit, feel toned. You need to have strength training somewhere in your schedule. And if you can't get to it right now, that's okay, but just prepare that that's going to have to be a part of your game plan in the future if it's not already. The third principle for success is to eat 2 balanced meals a day throughout the holidays. The worst thing that you can do going into a holiday meal is be completely ravenous. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more in steps 4 and 5 of the Holiday Freedom Framework. But for now, when it comes to nutrition, aim to have 2 healthy balanced meals per day. because most likely you're going to have more holiday treats, you're going to have dinners every once in a while. But if you can have a healthy breakfast and a healthy lunch, then you're in a really good spot. Bear with me. You're in a better spot than if you only have a sugar cookie and a coffee for breakfast. So again, contrast here is helpful. So have 2 healthy balanced meals per day. And then principle number 4 of your game plan is simple. Stay hydrated. Drink half of your body weight in ounces of water per day. That is a great goal to aim for. Because when you're hydrated, you think clearer, you make better decisions, and you're more in tune with your hunger and fullness cues than if you do not. Stay hydrated. That's a really simple one that's going to make a world of difference over the course of the holidays, especially when you start to get really, really busy. Principle number 5, if it is at all possible, sleep for over 7 hours a night. Again, a really simple principle that can totally go out the window throughout the holidays. If you can sleep 7 hours per night, again, you're going to be more in touch with your hunger cues, you're going to have more energy, you're going to think clearer, and you're much more likely to follow through if you do have a plan to work out or move your body. You're going to feel much better if you sleep for 7 hours at a minimum per night. Those are the 5 principles that will make up an excellent game plan. And then again, stay flexible with yourself. Don't feel like you have to be perfect, but follow those 5 principles and you will feel really good by the end of the year. Like you'll feel like even if you ate some cookies and you had some fun meals or some leftovers, a few cocktails, you're still gonna feel like you are in control and you are feeling good. That's what we're aiming for. If you feel like you're in control of your health, you aren't throwing it out the window, you're going to be in a much better place come January. You're going to feel more proud of yourself, and that's what we're aiming for. So that is step number 3 of our holiday freedom framework. We want to have that game plan. We want to have these principles in place that are consistent, but that you remain flexible with yourself on. Again, we're not going from doing everything to doing nothing. We're maintaining some basic principles for success. Now, let's go back to the framework. Step number 4 is life-changing because step number 3 really planned ahead and set you up for movement, for hydration, for some basic principles of nutrition. That's your game plan. Step number 4 is to practice mindful eating. Now, whether or not you're familiar with mindful eating, I'm going to give you some principles that will really help you be successful with this practice. First and foremost, mindful eating is the practice of being completely present with what you are doing, specifically with what you are eating or drinking. Now, regardless of how familiar or unfamiliar you are with mindful eating and of that practice, I'm going to teach you how you can do this and really use this practice to your advantage throughout the holidays. The practice of mindful eating is essentially the practice of being completely present with the food that you're consuming. This makes a world of difference because you're going to be more in tune with how your body is feeling as you're eating. Contrast this with the typical experience of the holidays where you eat and eat and eat and eat until you're overfull, until you wish you didn't eat quite so much. What if you could be completely in tune with your body, really enjoy your food, and stop eating long before you hit that breaking point where you really say, okay, last bite. Again, if that happens over the course of 2 months and you're able to stop a little earlier, you're going to maintain a healthy weight. You're going to feel good. You're going to have energy. And you're not going to have the emotional baggage that comes with overeating either. All bonuses, all great benefits. So let's talk about how you can practice mindful eating. Really, really simple, but a lot of us don't utilize this. If we want to practice mindful eating, think, how can I pause before I eat? A lot of times we'll walk into the kitchen, especially during the holidays, and we'll just grab whatever's there and eat it. We never really pause to say, what is that I'm about to eat? Do I want that? Okay, yes, I do. Why do I want it? And just take a second before you put food in your mouth. Just that pause gives you the opportunity to choose. And then once you actually start eating, take one bite at a time. I know this is going to sound like a crazy concept, but you can put your food or your fork down between every bite and no one will even notice. Putting your fork down or your food down between every bite makes it so that your body can take its time to understand how much you're consuming. For those signals to go from your mouth, your esophagus, and your stomach up to your brain, it takes time. So being able to just slow down when you eat, take one bite at a time, makes a world of difference in how much you eat. And then third, if you can, remove distractions when you're eating. throughout the holidays. There will be distractions if you're at a party, if you're chatting with people, but try not to be on your phone, try not to be working. Otherwise, try to remove distractions when you eat. Again, these are really meant to get you present and keep you from ignoring the signals your body's giving you. So if you can be mindful, if you can be present, again, it makes the world a difference. A few more just to take with you as you practice mindful eating. Engage your senses, meaning actually try to taste the food, smell the food, even consider trying to identify the different textures or even temperatures of the food. If you can identify the different pieces of what you're eating and you engage all of your senses, it's going to be more enjoyable as well. Check in mid-meal. Observe how you are actually feeling like halfway through your meal, and consider even thinking on a scale of 1 to 10, how full am I? Just bringing awareness to that typically will reduce how much you eat. And then last two, practice gratitude at every meal. Like really be grateful for the food you're consuming. We get so quick and mindless that we don't even appreciate the food that we're eating. We're just thinking about the next piece of pie or the next cookie or how we shouldn't be eating it. So practice gratitude while you're eating. And then lastly, last little tip, reflect post-meal. After you're done eating, just give yourself a little moment. Say, okay, am I happy with what I ate? What did I eat? Did I enjoy that? All of these steps are going to be completely unobservable to the outside eye. Only you will notice that you paused before you grabbed the cookie. Only you will notice if you put your fork down between bites. Try these practices out. Try these tips for mindful eating out and just notice how much you actually consume. It, again, will make a world of difference. I know for me personally, these tips changed my life, changed my relationship with food forever. And I eat a lot less when I eat this way, just naturally, because that's what my body actually needs. It doesn't need 3 plates of food, and neither does yours. The last tip and the last step of our holiday freedom framework is the most important. Focus on the people, not the food. During the holidays, this time of the year is about the people around you. It's about spending time with those that you love. Maybe spending time with those that are challenging too, and that's okay. If you can be present and really focus on the person in front of you, the food and the stress will fall away. So try to make eye contact, be curious, bring love to every situation that you're in. If you can think before you go somewhere, what can I give? You're going to feel much better and more proud of yourself and more fulfilled by every interaction that you go through. In summary, these are your 5 parts to the holiday freedom framework. First and foremost, make sure that you have a goal this holiday season. Second, make sure you address the stress. There's power in anticipation. Third, build your personal game plan. I gave you principles for success. Now it's your job to write down your game plan and put it in your calendar. Each and every week, reassess, recommit, and adapt as necessary. Number 4, make sure you practice mindful eating. Yes, you're going to be consuming different food, but that doesn't mean that you're doomed. It doesn't mean that you're meant to gain weight. If you practice mindful eating, you'll still eat to maintain your weight or possibly even lose, depending on your goal. And lastly, and most importantly, focus on the people more than the food. And your stress will dramatically reduce. Focus on what you can give, not what you can get or what you're losing. Just be here, be where your feet are, as one of my old clients used to say all the time. Overall, I hope this has been helpful for you. If it has, please comment if you're on YouTube with me. What was your greatest takeaway below? You can even comment what you're committed to this holiday or how this changed your perspective on what the holidays are about. I'd love to see those. And if you're listening on some other platform like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we would absolutely love to hear what you are taking away from Conquer the Day podcast overall. What have you gained from this? What have you learned? Leave us a review and let us know what this has done for you. We would so appreciate that, and we always love your feedback. That said, please take this information, go out, share it with somebody who needs it, and conquer your day. Have a good one. Cheers.